Before we dive into the video, do me a favor to subscribe to this channel for more updates and more news to come. Thank you.
OMO AGEGE from the All Progressives Congress. OMO AGEGE states that his decision was informed by political developments within the APC in Delta State and consultations with his supporters. The former senator says he can no longer advance the interests of Delta Central and his political aspirations within the party. His resignation is already fueling speculation over possible new alliances, shifts in political influence, and what it could mean for the balance of power in Delta politics ahead of future elections. But for more on the implications of OMO AGEGE's exit from the APC and how it could reshape the political landscape in Delta States, Director of Abuja School of Social and Political Thought, Sam Amadi, joins us now. Good afternoon. Many thanks for being here.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, of course, we know that OMO AGEGE was one of APC's most visible faces in the Niger Delta region. What does his resignation signal? Is this going to have a huge impact on the party's grip in Delta State, especially since we're so close to elections?
Well, I think it's not totally unexpected since the former governor and vice president candidate of PDP in the last election, they camped together with the current governor to APC. Pundits would argue that the space seemed to be shrinking for leadership for OMO AGEGE in that party. And so there are also stories, rumors, reports, unofficial, that he probably was hobnobbing with the opposition leading to the primaries. And again, because of the nature of the electoral landscape and the electoral regime was very tight, maybe there was no time for defections and all that. And so when he lost the primary, it made sense maybe for him to resign from the party, because really he's going to play even less than secondary role. The feud between him and the former governor and the current governor, the camp, is a strong one. And it's one of those things we should expect across the country, that where those choices have to be made and incumbents on other forces win, the other force might seek refuge elsewhere. Again, the options are limited because the primaries are all coming at the same time, and so it's not likely that probably he had registered as a member of another party and he could run election for Senate in any of those new parties. But what is clear that having resigned, he's not going to work for APC in the 27 election, and may find himself fully working for, or even start the election. We don't know whether he's going to be a candidate or whether he has registered before now and maybe he's going to be on a ballot. We don't know, but for sure, he would be working against the APC in Delta State. He's a significant force. He has been running for the governor. He has his own group in APC. And so what is not clear is whether it's enough force to totally upstage the governor. But we know that in the last election, the former governor's party lost the presidential election to P2B. And if he signs up to be with P2B's party, the NDC, it means that he will further bolster that party, and that could mean that that they could defeat the APC in that state, at least in the presidential election. For the governorship election, different dynamics come to play, but it's a big loss to the party and a boost to whichever opposition party he finally, supports or joins.
Dr. Amadi, if Senator OMO AGEGE couldn't make headway at the recent primaries, how significant is that? And going from that scenario to other parties, although he hasn't announced where he's going, how would he fare, you think?
I think, look, if he goes to any of the parties, he would definitely win the nomination, if that's possible, because he's very strong. He faced a very stiff opposition in the former governor, and clearly with the party structure where the governors controlled, the political party controlled the primaries, as it were, it will be difficult for him to win. Again, these primaries are not free and fair. The structures and procedures are not clear. And so losing in the primary against a governor's candidate would not mean you are not powerful or you're not strong. It's basically what it is. The governors are in charge. Especially in APC, where the president gave them kind of open check to run primaries, and they got whatever they wanted. And so he is a strong candidate. So if he tries to run under another party, he would win the nomination. I mean, I'm assuming the legalities are okay for him to run. So if he does, he'll win. And if he wins, he will be a very strong opposition to the APC in that state. He will surely be, because before 2023, he had built strong political network as Deputy Senate President. He had strong structure and was actually a strong contender for the governorship election and did fairly well, even though he didn't win. So all that together means that even though he might not necessarily use that force to upset the governor for a second term, but he would tilt the balance in election that's going to likely be very close, and in which the opposition, whether it's ADC or NDC, more likely NDC because PWB won that state handily, he would, if he joins NDC, he would definitely tilt the scale far more towards ADC than APC. So it's a big loss for APC, but in all these things, unavoidable. I mean, something has to give, whether it's the governor's faction, the former governor's faction, or this faction. And in politics, once it's about transaction, you lose and you win. In Delta State, the ruling party has lost because there's no way they could converge those adverse interests.
Now, when you consider the hat that OMO Agege wore, being serving as the Deputy Senate President under APC and this defection, do you think it's the first of many based on the influence that he had in the APC? And at the same time, can you also address how this might be an indicator of poor internal party dispute measures that might lead to situations like this?
Well, I think the key thing to bear in mind is, look, once the political party begins to acquire people like, they just mobilize everybody to their platform, it's a matter of time when you just basically have to, find a way to solve, to converge everybody. And it's not a principled politics, in which case people are joining, identify with an ideology and the value system and use that as orientation. So what this means, therefore, is when you bring these guys who have diverse, who want to be governor, they want to be senator, you just then have to have a capacity to do trade-off. Either you expand the pie and everybody gets what they want from the large pie, or you knock some people down and knock some people up. So it was bound to happen. And so it's a statement about the difficulty of the game. It's difficult to reconcile these divergent views if there are no principled anchor. What are we reconciling them towards? If it's all about naked self-interest, as Nigerian politics has become, then you're going to end up with irreconcilable, differences. And again, it also speaks to the temper of this moment that, look, this politics has become totally denuded of morals and values and ideology. And so naked interests, clash, and leadership is weak, and so you don't get the result you want. So will it happen elsewhere? We're going to see that it's going to happen in a lot of places, depending on if there's room enough to decamp to other parties or whether people stay in-house and antagonize their platform.
Indeed, Dr. Sam Amadi, many thanks for your analysis on OMO Agege's resignation from ADC.